Welcome to the Real P&L Trading Show, where I do share my real P&L on 3 accounts and share my proprietary safe whale system for free. You guys type in the chat, make sure my audio is working okay. I want to know, always want to know my audio is working. Let me get to the comments here. Also, if you have any questions, be sure to post any questions that you have. Do it early rather than later, because I can always get to the question. Sometimes people post questions late into the broadcast and I don't get to those questions. So let me know that you can hear me okay in the chat. All right, I'm going to assume that my audio is working fine and move forward here and look at the earnings edge. What happened in the earnings edge last week? Well, earnings season is coming up, and so we are at the tail end of the earnings season, and so we didn't have anything to trade. There weren't enough candidates, and once I find the candidates, after I find the candidates, I need to filter through, and once I ran through all the filters, I didn't really have any candidates that fit through the filters. Typically, when it's really heavy into earnings season, you get 3, 4, 5 available stocks to trade through the earnings edge, and then towards the tail end, you really don't. Sometimes you don't get any. So that's what happened last week. I didn't get any. So let's take a look at the account here. It's just basically going to be the same as it was last week. 11,676, and we'll look at the spreadsheet. Let's see, you guys hear me okay? Yes, thanks, IU, Steve-O. Appreciate you guys, and let me know that my audio is working. And Shovel, I see that you're here first. All right. So it looks like I traded Costco as my last trade. Got about a 60% win rate, average win 732, average loss 540, and 11,673 is what the account is worth. You can see what it's done over 2022, 2023, and 2024. What is SPY trading today? SPY is at 542.74. Oh, is that pretty big over this last week? Okay, so it's up 14%. You can see the earnings edge is vastly outperforming the S&P here, 133 versus 14. It does have higher risk though. There's more risk with the earnings edge system. So I've seen the system draw down all up to like 40%. So yeah, you're going to get the big reward, but you're going to have some risk there too, which is not my typical way of trading. But I put this trade system together, I figured it out, and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I back tested it, and then I've been forward testing it all the way from 2022, and it's working well. But it's not my typical way of trading, but it's a different way of trading that a lot of people like. In fact, there's people in this earnings edge program that are doing much better than I am, like creating, doing their own. They're trading more than just one stock a week. Okay, so that's the earnings edge. Let's talk about the Premier Level 5. Premier Level 5 is here in my IB account. You can see down 32,700. So the Premier Level 5 is not doing as well this year because of the lack of, let me put this in here, basically the lack of volatility. It likes volatility. If there's not volatility, you can see I'm drawing down here almost 7%, where the S&P, I don't know why that's not that number, 542. Let me fix that real quick. F22. Yeah, you can see, underperforming big time. The PL5 is going to come back and recover. We just need the market to do something different than what it's been doing over the last 8 months. And this particular market, this bull market, especially a bull market that doesn't have any volatility, it doesn't do quite well. It's not like dying or anything. I mean, I can recover here in a month or two. But even like 2021, though, for example, that was a pretty good up market, but there was some volatility involved with that up market, and so the PL5 did really well, over 20% if I remember correctly. So it's not really about bull market as much as it is about a little bit of volatility in there. My back stats from 2015 never showed a market that we're in right now, the current market that we're in, which is a bull market without any kind of volatility at all. So my back test never showed that. So this is a new regime here for since 2015. It's a totally different market, and the PL5 is well. It'll recover, and once the market gets a little more volatility in it, and the market comes down a little bit, which it probably will at some point, then the PL5 will start to perform well again. But another thing is, I'm not hiding my performance. Like if I don't have good performance with one of my systems, I don't hide it, right? It's there. That's what it is. And I think that's the difference between me and other instructors. They're going to figure out some type of way to hide bad performance. I'm not going to say it's bad performance. I'm not down very much, but I'm down a lot. For me, that's pretty heavy, 6, 7%. But, I've seen other instructors, they're down 30, 40% and they hide it, right? You don't know. You don't know that they're down that much because they don't show you. I'm going to show you everything. So that's the difference. You're going to see what's happening reality here. If it's not doing well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, that's the PL5. Let's talk about the safe wheel now. Safe wheel's interesting, very interesting. This should be my safe wheel account. 6544. Let's do the spreadsheet first. 6544. Just kind of get an idea of what's going on. So it's up. I was able to sell some premium last week with the Blaze of Glory trade, which I really like, that I employed recently. And that means I'm always selling premium, right? I'm just always, every week, I'm selling premium no matter what. And as long as I'm not taking big losses or anything like that, as long as I'm always selling premium, I should do quite well. You can see I'm underperforming this year, though. The S&P is doing quite well, and it's just no volatility on that thing. But overall, you can see the safe wheel since 2022, and I've been trading it live, is outperforming. I only get about one half the drawdowns of the S&P, so on a risk-adjusted basis, the safe wheel is just vastly outperforming. So I'm here, showing you a trade system that is systematic, black and white rules, and outperforming the S&P, and I'm showing it to you for free here. That's why if you guys can hit the like button, get more people in here, because I think that I'm providing, this is pretty good value. I don't see this kind of value in other places. There are some other places where they're showing some good stuff, but they're not really prepared for a crash market with their systems. You notice that some of the systems where you see their accounts and they're making good money and they're doing really well. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all. But notice that they didn't go through 2020. Like they haven't gone through a crash with their particular portfolio. So that would be interesting to see, though, wouldn't it? Because yeah, you can do well if you don't have to hedge yourself for a crash. You don't have that drag on your portfolio. It's much, much easier to do really well. But what happens when the crash happens? Do you really think there's not going to be another crash? I mean, if you don't think there's going to be another crash, then by all means do what those guys are doing. I'm referring mainly to like the 112 trade that everybody talks about. Do that if you believe the market's not going to crash again. That would be a great system. But if you believe that the market might crash at some point, I don't know if you really want to be putting your money into something like that. That's my opinion. I haven't ran the numbers yet. I need to do that. It's one of the things on my list. So where was I? Okay, the safe wheel. Let's talk about that. This is very interesting. Let's talk about the hedge. So I'm going to manage this hedge, right? So I've got a couple questions to ask about this put hedge. I've got two hedges here. This long call hedge, you really don't do much with it. You just buy a $5 call every Friday. Okay, so it's just nothing really. So I don't really need to manage that. But this particular hedge needs to be managed. And what do I need to do? What questions do I need to ask myself? Well, number one question is it under 100 days? The answer is yes. Okay, so typically, not this time, but almost every other time, when this is under 100 days, I need to roll it out into time. It has too much theta, and I need to push it out in time so it doesn't have too much theta. But am I going to do that this time? Let me ask you guys, am I going to push this thing out in time this time around? Let's see what you guys have to say in the chat about, and that question right there. Am I going to push this thing out? Am I going to roll this hedge today? Will says, sounds like a no. Probably not. Charles says, probably not. Yeah, I'm not going to. Why? Because it's in use. It's in play, right? No, most of the time it's not in play, but it's actually in the money, right? The price is 18.27, and the strike price here is 24. It's in the money by $5, $6. I'm not going to mess with it. It's actually doing its job, right? So this under 100 days, I do ask myself that question, but I'm not going to push it out because it's in play. Okay, what's the next question? Is it within 70% of the price? Well, it's 100% within the price, right? I mean, usually the stock price is out of the money from here, and then I ask myself, is it 70%? Okay. It's definitely within 70%. It's 100%. It's in the money. Okay. So that means that I don't mess with it. Now, here's another question that I ask. When I'm long 200 shares, I ask myself this other question. Is the put hedge paying me more than my loss on my 200 shares? And the answer here is no. Look, it's almost identical. That's what's very interesting about this, about the picking the right put hedge. This particular hedge, placing your hedge where I place it, that's a very calculated place. I mean, look, if this is worth more than this, and it's worth $2 more, to me it's not worth more, it's equal, right? So these are equal. Therefore, I'm not going to cash out on this put hedge. But if this put hedge was significantly more, I don't know, $50 more, right? Then I would cash out on this thing and start over because my put hedge did its job. It's obviously doing its job right now. It's protecting me against these 200 share losses. But as we get further and further down, as this LI goes down even more, it's going to give me even more protection. And eventually it's going to overcome. It's going to be worth more than the loss. But right now it's even, which is great because now I can sell more premium because my goal is just to keep selling premium, right? So I'm going to do another Blaze of Glory trade, right? Going out with a Blaze of Glory. I got 200 shares here that I want to get out of, and I'm willing to get out at, I can sell the $18, the $18.50, whatever, at the money. Collect some premium here. Okay. And I'll get into some of these questions in here. On Friday, today, actually, what I'm going to do, because right now I'm making my decision that I'm not going to get out of this put hedge. Like, I'm not going to use it. So because I'm making this decision now, I'm going to buy another call, another $5 call to protect myself. Could I have done that on Friday? Yes, but on Friday, I didn't know if I was going to come in on Monday and get out of the position, if that makes sense, right? So now that I'm deciding I'm not going to get out of the position, I'm going to also add another $5 call. So let's do that first. So I'll make sure I'm in LI. Go into the near. Go in where I can buy something for $5 or $6. It looks like the 20. And I'm just going to buy one of these. I can pay $6 for it. Okay. But I like to pay $5, but I'll pay $6. I won't pay $7. So I'm going to cover this hedge with two calls. Okay, so now I've got another call here, and that's my phone going off because that trade went out. So now I'm totally hedged. This, let's say that I get called, see, because I'm going to do the Blaze of Glory trade, right? So I'm going to possibly get called out at $18 or $18.50. And if I do, I need to protect this put hedge, right? Let's say the stock goes to $20 or $22 and I get called away. Well, this put hedge is going to lose money. So that's why I've got 2 long calls instead of just 1. Okay, because I'm protecting this thing. I could actually go with 3, but I'm going to just stay with 2 because that's, spending $10 right there that I'm kind of throwing away basically on a hedge. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get as much premium as I can, and maybe it takes me out of the trade. That's fine. And I'm going to go near term. And I'm going to sell call at the money. I could sell the 18. Which one has the most extrinsic value, right? I can go with the 18.50 and collect another 20 cents. That's probably what I'm going to do here, rather than going with the $18 one, because then I'm 30 cents in the money there. So I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit out of the money and sell this. I might be able to get 35 cents. I'm going to do 2 of them because I own 200 shares. Now I own those 200 shares at $21, 100 shares at $21 and 100 shares at $28.50. Okay, so my cost basis is way lower, but my hedge is covering me, right? So I can afford to sell more premium here. And that's what I'm going to attempt to do here. Okay, it looks like I filled. Good. Okay, so here's the trade for the week for the safe wheel. Collected more premium. I always want to collect premium, collect premium, collect premium. That's my goal. And with a safe wheel, I can always collect premium every week. And, hedge myself for worst case scenarios. This is pretty bad. I mean, look at how much, I got in this stock at $28.50 when I first sold a put. I sold a put out of the money for $28.50. And now this stock is trading at $18.30. So what is it down? $10. It's down maybe 30% or something like that. And what am I down? I'm not down, right? I'm actually made money because I've been selling premium all the way down and my put hedge is covering me. So that's pretty cool to trade the wheel strategy where your stock is down 30% and you're still making money, right? That's the safe wheel. Okay, let's get into the comments here, see if there's any questions. Shovel was the first one here. Shovel says, let's trade Palantir. Palantir is pretty wild, right? You can probably collect a lot of premium, but you're going to get a lot of jumps. You're going to get jumpy. Your put hedge is probably going to be super expensive also. If you get, let's see what Palantir. It's not as bad as I thought, actually. I think Palantir might have settled down a little bit. Let's look at the chart real quick. Oh yeah, it has settled down quite a bit. It's oh yeah, that's not a bad stock to trade. I might open that one up if I'd have to look at the other rules as far as opening up a new position, but that actually looks like a pretty good stock right now. It used to be super, had a lot of volatility to it, but it seems to have settled down quite a bit. Will says another blaze of glory this week. Yes, that's what I just did. Good call there. Hopefully we cash out our old put hedge today. Oh yeah, it's less than 100. Yeah. Look at, I'm able to sell premium on 200 shares. If I can do that, That's pretty good. That's pretty good premium. What did I collect? $72 right here. That's a pretty good collection for a $6,500. What is that? $6,500 account. So what did I collect? $72. 72 divided by what? 6,500. Let's say. I collected 1% today on my account. So I like where I'm at. I want the stock to continue to go down. LI. I like making these Blaze of Glory trades, collecting 1%, making 1%. Let's see. AU says if you follow their trades, they lose big in downturns. Right. That's the thing. There are going to be downturns. I know there haven't been any downturns since November of last year. I mean, it's coming up on a 9 months or something like that. It's coming up on a year where we haven't had any decent downturns. We only had one in April where it was over 2% downturn. And when that happened, people were kind of panicking that we're running the 112. Some people were, not all of them. And that was only like a 6% move down. I mean, the market's going to go down 10%. It's going to go down 20% at some point. It's not just going to keep going up like this. Okay. So we talked about here where you guys answered talking about, am I going to get rid of the put hedge because it's under 100 days? No. And Steve's talking about close the entire position. And Aya says no. Yeah. So you were thinking, the stock price is under 20, likely to move on. Yes, that would make sense, but I'm still in a position to collect premium. And so I'm going to continue to do that. And if I get pushed out of this trade, out of this stock, I won't go back into it because it's under $20. But I'm going to stay with it. If I'm in it, I'm going to stay with it until I cannot collect any more premium, or I get called away, basically called away from my shares, or I can't collect any premium. It's not the stock being lower than $20 or higher than $40 is not an exit criteria. It's just a non-entry criteria, if that makes sense. Let's move on. Yeah, we may get another Blaze of Glory. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll get another one. And if we do, it just means that the put hedge is getting stronger, right? And so I might use the put hedge and get out of the position totally. And then Will says, and wonder if we should have bought another $5 call on Friday to prepare for the Blaze of Glory. It's possible. I got to think that through a little bit. I knew on Friday that I was going to hold the 200 shares. I wasn't going to get called away. And I did buy a $5 call. So I got to think about that. But that's a good thought process right there, Will. Will, you know this thing as well as I do. So, and Will says, what do you think of selling 2 calls in the money instead of at the money? So the 18 strike price instead of 1850. I think it is a little more risky to do that because selling my shares at $18 is not as good. I'm not going to make as much money. Obviously, I'm going to make more money if I sell them at $18.50. I'm trying to find the sweet spot where I'm finding the most extrinsic value. $18 could have been there. It's so close. I always prefer to try to sell out of the money, though, collect a little more premium. Let's say that the stock ends up at $18.25 and I don't get called away. Well, now I can do another Blaze of Glory trade, which is cool. I like it. Collects a lot of premium. So I don't necessarily want to go in the money with it. You could, though. There's nothing wrong with that idea at all. I'm just trying to collect the most extrinsic value. Schmidt's apologies if this was previously addressed. Has Blaze of Glory situation been backtested or is it uncharted territory? No, it hasn't been backtested. It's just, to me, it's just thinking things through. It makes sense because I could have gotten out of the position without any more premium and started over. And maybe collected premium on another trade, right? I would have collected premium by starting over. But look at the premium that I'm collecting and look at my risk. I really don't have a lot of risk because the stock could continue to go down and my put hedges are going to pay me, or the stock could go up and I own the 200 shares. Of course, there's some risk there, right? So I get called away at 1850 and it goes to 1950. There's a little bit of risk there, but it's not a lot of risk. I'm willing to take that risk. And I've got a $20 call. What else do I have? I've got a $20 call and a $21.50 call. So, I mean, if it really goes up a lot, I'm covered. It could hit that little ugly spot of $19.50. And, maybe I'm down $100, but I just collected $70, right? So, no, it's not a back-tested thing. It's just kind of an obvious thing that I think I should have figured out in the beginning. And after running the system for 2.5 years, I just kind of know, I guess. Aya says, been trading PLTR and doing well. Great. That's good to hear. Yeah, PLTR looks like a pretty decent stock. It used to be too much of a high flyer for the system, in my opinion, but now it looks pretty good. Well, wondering if for teaching purposes, people should learn the more simplified safe whale version first. Sure. I think it's just an added part. We added it to the actual course. If you have the course, there's a flow chart and it's just follow the flow chart, right? So it's pretty easy. So I wouldn't say it's adding a lot of complication. It's adding a little more because you gotta do a little bit more on Fridays now. So it makes it a little bit different. But this system used to be only traded on Mondays, but now it's traded on Fridays and Mondays. Since Will says there's a lot of added rules since the inception of the original safe wheel. And you understand them pretty easily. Yeah, that flow chart does it all, right? It just tells you exactly where to go. Steve says you don't need the second $5 call on Friday since you're not at risk of losing your shares. Yeah, there you go. That's the reason why. So excellent. Thanks for bringing that up, Steve-O. Yeah, actually, yeah. So right now I'm at risk of losing my shares. So therefore I put on the extra $5. I already thought this through. I just kind of forgot. And I'm glad that you brought this up. Since I'm now at risk of losing my shares, I really need that double protection. But like Steve-O said, over the weekend, I own 200 shares, so I'm not at risk. I mean, the market the LI could shoot up to $30, and I'm fine because I got 200 shares, and that covers the put hedge. So technically, I probably don't even need to buy a $5 call on when I own the 200 shares going into the weekend. I just, that's to simplify the system, right? Just buy a $5 call every week, and that's to make it more simple, I think, as opposed to not doing it. Will says, good point. Yes, I appreciate it, Will, and all your guys' feedback. And if you guys next week maybe come in, let me know if there's some symbols here that I don't have that I can add to this list, because I'm getting close to not using LI as my under. I'm gonna have to find a new stock. So maybe you guys, I cleaned this up a little bit earlier today, but if you guys find any stocks that would help add to my watch list, that would be cool to know, and you could help me out with that. And Avery says that long call has helped out before. Yes, it has. It doesn't help out very often, but it has helped out before for sure. And Avery says, hit that like button. Yes, hit that like button. And Will says he remembers on one occasion it helped out big time. I think it made like $130 or something like that, if I remember correctly. And really covered the loss of the put hedge. I think it actually, I don't remember if it outweighed the loss of the put hedge or not. I think it did. But yeah, it'll definitely help you. Something happens with LI and gets some takeover bid and it goes to $50. You're gonna be good. You're gonna be good here. I got 2 long calls right here. Plus the 200 shares. Well, they'll get called away. All right. Well, but don't forget to hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. And in parting. Oh wait, Will has one more thing here. What do you think of a billionaire buying Trump stock as an indirect way of making a campaign contribution way over the legal limits? I don't know. I don't want to get into politics. There's people in power will always find a way. Okay? That's just my takeaway there. And I'm not saying one guy in power is better than the next. All right. DJT for the safe wheel. Okay, let me add that in here. So I can get this thing down. Something's going on with my mouse here. It's not talking, it's not cooperating. DJT. Good, thanks for that. I'll put that in there. Okay, in parting, I always like to say, if the P&L is not real, what else are they trying to conceal? I'll be back next week. We'll see you.